Hey everyone, Videogamelover here, and today I'm going to do a re-review. Back in my old account, I did a review on this handheld, but today we're going to revisit it. The Sega Game Gear. Now, the Sega Game Gear came out in 1991 in the US. I believe 1990 in Japan, I think. This was the competitor for the Nintendo Game Boy. It was meant to compete with the Nintendo Game Boy and the Atari Lynx. As we all know, the Nintendo Game Boy came out in 1989. It revolutionized portable gaming. It wasn't the first portable gaming system, but it revolutionized and made portable gaming very popular. So Sega decided to enter the handheld market with this handheld. Now, what makes the Game Gear a lot different than the Game Boy, other than, well, it's more horizontal than the Game Boy, as the Game Boy was more vertical, is that the Game Gear actually features a colored screen, a backlit colored screen, which the Game Boy did not. The Game Boy, all it had was black and white, and the screen wasn't lit. So as you see, you have your 1 and 2 buttons, your start button, and the D-pad, which is pretty nice. The Game Gear's hardware is basically a Sega Master System. It's kind of like a portable Master System. And there was an adapter released for the Game Gear that you actually play Sega Master Systems on the Sega Game Gear. Really cool. Really cool. It's definitely one of the coolest peripherals for the Sega Game Gear. However, though, there are some downsides on the Game Gear, and the most notorious of them all was the Game Gear takes 6 AA batteries, and unfortunately they go down pretty quickly. The battery life for a Game Gear is typically around 4 to maybe 6 if you're lucky. 4 to 5 hours at the most, and that's 6 AA batteries. You also have a headphone jack, which is right here, and an adapter port to plug it to the wall, so that way you don't have to use batteries on it. That's kind of normally how I play my Game Gear, but sometimes I will use the batteries. So yeah, the poor battery life kind of doomed the handheld a little bit, despite this system was very powerful and more advanced than the Game Boy. But the other problem with the Game Gear, and this is kind of, if you're going to ever buy one, is you have to make sure that this one has good capacitors. See, when the Game Gear was being developed, Sega used cheap capacitors, and sometimes they will either leak or basically fail. So if this happens, your screen will not work, your screen will be messing up, and the sound will be all over the place. So that's how you know that the Game Gear's capacitors went out. Thankfully, the good news is there is a modding community for this handheld. Lots of people have done mods to fix the capacitors, to fix the screen, and to even make the Game Gear into like into a console. They add like ports so you could connect it to your TV. Now, there's a lot of games for the Sega Game Gear. Of course, you always gotta have Sonic. But what's kind of crazy about the Game Gear was there was so many Sonic games, it was ridiculous. You had Sonic 1, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble, Tails Adventure was amazing, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. There's a lot of Sonic games on the Game Gear. There's also a couple of games that were released on the Genesis, but they were different, like Disney's Aladdin. You had this Ren and Stimpy game, Aerial Assault, and most of Game Gear games came in these cases, as you see right here, very similar to the Game Boy cases you normally see. So really cool, and these Game Gear cases are very easy to find. I have like, I believe 4 of these now. 4 or 5 of these cases, so really cool to have on the Game Gear. So yeah, there are a lot of games, and the good news about the Game Gear, it's very inexpensive. I'm going to show you a game right here, Aerial Assault. A decent shmup, but it's really tough. I only paid $3 for it. Collecting from the Game Gear is very nice. You can get a lot of Game Gear games next to $1. I mean, some of these Game Gear games, like The Lion King, I got this game for $1. So, very easy to collect for the Game Gear. There are a few games that are kind of expensive, like the Shine Force game goes for like about $30. The Axe Battler game goes for about $20. I think the most expensive is Panzer Dragoon Mini. That goes for $150. Mortal Kombat 3 goes for like $50 to $80. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you pay $80 for Mortal Kombat 3 on the Game Gear, hold this L, please. Hold that L. But anyways, I'm gonna show a little bit of gameplay, and we'll be playing the Game Gear version of NBA Jam Tournament Edition, which is actually a pretty decent version. Shit. Trying to get the screen for you guys to see it. Takes a while to load. Jesus. Okay, so here's the game. Now I don't want to keep my initials. I'll be the Atlanta Hawks, of course. We're finally seeing the Dallas Mavericks. This was back when they were real bad. I'm gonna play really badly. So yeah, this is NBA Jam on the Sega Game Gear. It actually plays pretty nice. The 2-button passes, the 1-button I believe shoots, and the start button is how you run. A little awkward where the start button is, but it definitely it actually plays pretty decently. The only problem with this version is I believe there's no save feature. I tried to like play a couple matches on this version, but it wouldn't work. I'm gonna try Sega go for 3. And I got it. Oh wow. So yeah, that's the Sega Game Gear. It's a pretty decent handheld. If you get over the screen and be careful of the back capacitors, this is a really good handheld that I recommend on your video game collection. Very nice. The collecting for it is a lot of fun, and it's overall a pretty good handheld. So, before I end this off, my next review, I will be reviewing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and the reason for that is because I reviewed the movie version, so I'll definitely do the original version. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. Videogamelover58, sign off. Peace.